What's going on, y'all? Welcome to GreenCardGuys.tv. I'm your host, John Ting, here to secure your legal status to live and work in America legally. Y'all, we have some breaking news today. The Senate and the House have both passed the Laken Riley Act. So this is the information you need to know. Whether or not you agree with it, you need to know this information. So watch all the way to the end. First, it's important to note, rest in peace, Laken Riley, and my condolences to anyone affected, especially her family. Now, for those that have been living under a rock, let's talk about this act. It hasn't been officially signed yet. Maybe by the time you watch this, it could have been signed by President Trump, but thus far it has been passed by both the Senate and the House. Let me share with you this article. Okay, this has been passed by the House earlier today. 236 yays and 156 nays. And the Senate last week was 64 yays and 35 nays. Now, going back to why is this a law in the first place? Because you might think, well, don't they already have laws on putting people to get people detained for certain crimes? And yes, and there's actually mandatory detention. Okay, that's 236C of the Immigration Nationality Act. And I'll share this with you. This is a resource by the ILRC. And what is mandatory detention? It refers to the provision of the law, INA, that states that non-citizens with certain criminal convictions must be detained by ICE. Now, of course, I can go in more detail later. I'll certainly share that. If you want that link as a resource, happy to share the information with you. Very important that you know about it. But why this uproar in a sense if the law already exists to detain someone based on certain crimes? Wouldn't it make sense that there's a different type of law or a different situation? Because let me bring the screen again and share this article from last year. Okay, this was November 15th, 2024. Okay, this is apparently during released during the election or right after election. This incident talks about his history. Okay, there's an uproar about this person. The number, as simple fact as possible, that this person didn't have any status, did not have any lawful status. You can see here, it talks about his the debate over immigration and crime, how it crosses over. Okay, it shows that he was states here he was apprehended by Border Patrol agents in 2022, and he was later released on parole. What does that tell you? The issue is not so much detained by DHS in terms of ICE. The issue is with the Custom Border and Protection. Okay, do you see what I'm getting at here? They pass a law that essentially already exists. What they did though, they added new triggering events. Okay, this is the Laken Riley Act introduced in the Senate, the new version for this congressional year on January 6th. Okay, so the bill requires Department of Homeland Security to detain certain non-U.S. nationals. Doesn't that sound familiar already? What I just shared with you, who have been arrested specifically for burglary, theft, larceny, or shoplifting. Now let's just take a moment to think about this. Okay, those four crimes isn't what happened to Laken Riley. Laken Riley was specifically murdered. So you see, although of course no one should be committing these kind of crimes, but those specific crimes are already is in the books. It's in the law. So let's take a deeper look. The bill also authorizes states to sue the federal government for decisions or alleged failures related to immigration enforcement. Now let's go a little bit deeper here. And so you might be wondering, what kind of alleged failures, John? Okay. If the triggering event, if the decision or failure that caused the state or its residents harm, including financial harm of more than $100, I'm just thinking as example that the harm in a sense like the state had to pay the warden or pay people working in the prison system, that it harmed them by at least $100. Maybe they had to send police or law enforcement to go track this person down. That cost more than $100 payroll expense. I'm suspecting that they're going to try to use that as an argument. So let me share my screen again. It says specifically the state government may sue the federal government over any of these situations here. Decision to release a non-U.S. national from custody. Failure to fulfill the requirements relating to inspecting individuals seeking admission into the United States, including requirements related to asylum interviews. Okay, so this second one is relating to the Custom Border Protection, CBP. Failure to fulfill a requirement to stop issuing visas to nationals of a country that unreasonably denies or delays acceptance of nationals of that country. So basically, they've just added several different provisions that really are not related. This one is not related at all. These right here are not related to these crimes. There is no correlation. Okay, leave in the comments what you think, if you think there's a correlation or not. But I already told you what I thought. Back to the first one here: decision to release a non-U.S. national from custody. You know that they're getting at the prosecutorial discretion situation from ICE perspective and also customs perspective. And now the fourth one down here: violation of limitations on immigration parole, such as a requirement that parole be granted on a case-by-case basis. Basically, they're trying to say, look, federal government, you can't just be messing around and have this case by case basis. It's got to be strict. You got to have strict requirements and follow requirements. Now, to that extent, I can sometimes agree, but you know how lawyers think. It's case by case. Okay, so let me share the screen again. Failure to detain an individual who has been ordered removed from the United States. Now that can make sense, right? But the thing is, if they've been order removed, then they should not be released back into out and about. You know, they should be removed from the United States, right? That one actually makes the most sense out of any of these. The first one and the bottom one that I just mentioned here. Because yes, if this person, Mr. Ibarra, the Venezuelan national, apparently he had been order removed. I don't know his file, but apparently he was removed already. So if that was the case, then he would have fallen under this situation or possibly under this one. But these right here, y'all, apparently he had parole, but these two right here, there's no relation to this specific situation with this national, Venezuelan national and Laken Riley. In this channel, we're going to call out any politician, we're going to call out any party, red or blue, any color. We're going to call them out if it doesn't make sense, if the provisions of any law does not make sense. If you have any experiences with this, please leave a comment down below. Now, again, I want you to really think about what's going on here because, you know, it mentioned burglary, it mentioned theft, it mentioned larceny. Because this article from the sponsor's message, the measure directs federal immigration enforcement to detain and deport those without legal status charged with minor theft or shoplifting. Now, look, when I was at a mall in Dallas, I'm not gonna well, I'll just say it's North Park Mall, okay, in Dallas. It was kind of interesting because the people who were going after people who had stolen something allegedly the people had stolen something were of a pale color, skin color, and the people that were running after those persons were not pale. Let's put it that way, okay? So I just thought that was kind of interesting. So you see what I'm getting at here? It's this law is painting people of a certain ethnicities, or essentially non-U.S. citizens, in a bad light, when really it could be anyone. Anyone could be committing these kind of crimes. Okay, I don't have the data right now to share with you. I know people love data. Okay, but I just want to get this news out quickly to share with you that both Senate and the House have passed this Laken Riley Act, laws to protect people in the future from being murdered, of course, is important. But this law has nothing specific to murder. Okay, I want to share my screen again. Back to the congressional website here. This is sponsored by Katie Boyd from Alabama. Okay, down below, the first paragraph. Here's a keyword here. Who have been arrested. Arrested. Second paragraph. Who have been charged with, comma, arrested for, comma, convicted of, or admits to having committed these acts. What does that mean? Essentially, it means if a person has been arrested, then yes, you can be detained and potentially deported, removed from the United States. This is alarming. Hence why I have this moving on in the background. Okay, so you should be very concerned. Now, this law, I haven't read the full text yet. We're going to verify it to make sure there is no retroactive date. Because if you have stolen a candy bar 5 years ago, we want to make sure that this doesn't affect you. Please stay tuned. If you have any questions, go ahead and schedule a strategy session with one of our attorneys. On another note, if you know you need legal services from our immigration law firm here at Green Card Guys, go ahead and schedule. Click the link below. for a pre-qualified session to meet with one of our client care specialists because time is of the essence. This law is going to be signed by President Trump very soon, or may likely have been signed by the time you see this, watch this video. So again, if you have any experiences about this, you have any questions, you're welcome to contact us. You're welcome to drop a comment down below. And by the way, of course, just want to share with you real quickly, we do have some free guides on our website at greencardguides.com. So if you just have common questions, go to our website and download one of those free guides. I wish you all the best. Stay safe and stay vigilant. Now, I have to share some tips here. If someone has been detained by local law enforcement, the county jail, we typically highly recommend, of course, disclaimer here, there's not legal advice. You have to consult, have a strategy session with an attorney one-on-one. Okay, my state bar tells me I have to say that. If you have been detained or essentially arrested by local law enforcement, sheriff, whatnot, you're in jail. Okay, this is not with immigration. You really need to consult with immigration attorney as well to verify if you should pay the bond or not. It's not actually with the criminal defense attorney only by itself. Some criminal defense attorneys, of course, may not understand what an ICE hold is. I think by now a lot of them do. But some might say, or you call a bail bondsman, they say, "Oh, your bond, oh, theft for a candy bar. Looks like your bail is at $500. So yeah, you could pay it because the bail at the junction of the paying the bond, no one's going to say, "Oh, you shouldn't pay that," because they're not your attorney. Okay, so you need to be careful of that. And here's why: the consequence of possibly paying the bail amount, the bail money, for bond release, is that if there's an ICE hold, that individual, your family member, your friend, will be transferred eventually to ICE detention center. Time and time again, I've received so many inquiries about people who said, "I had no idea that if I paid the bond that they're going to get released." But then they got picked up from ICE from the jail. So please, if you know anyone, even if it's a year from now that you watch this video, please share this video. Please share information because we want to make sure that people know about this situation. Okay. That yes, there's a direct transfer, but that direct transfer to ICE does not happen until this individual or your family member or friend is released from state custody or custody from the county. Okay. So hopefully that helps. Please stay tuned. If you haven't not a subscriber down yet, please consider subscribing and go ahead and hit the like button. Okay. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon.